Hi, welcome to vlog number 28. So this is a bit of an update now, a bit more data today. Last week was a bit of a rant really. So today's going to be a bit more focused on some numbers and some a bit of biomechanics as well thrown in there. So one of the things that's been a feature of my training over the last, I'd probably say 4 to 6 weeks, but progressively getting worse over the last 2 or 3 weeks, was some hip issues, some a bit of hip tightness, hip pain. And that's been, I'll probably say, more than I realised affecting my ability to squat. I was able to squat full range and numbers were okay, but it was becoming a bit grumbly. And we're really lucky here at Leeds Beckett to have an injury clinic that we can access. So I've been able to call upon the expertise of the sports injury clinic down there and kind of work on some issues. So basically what I was able to kind of work with them to find out there is my hip flexors and lateral hip musculature, kind of IT band, tensor fasciae latae, and all your kind of iliopsoas muscles got tight, irritated and a little bit weak, and that was basically affecting me in eccentric loading of the squat, so that the descent, the downward phase. Now initially you would think that has minimal effect on squat numbers because it's all about getting up from that, but actually if you think about the plyometric effect of squatting, if you are limited in how you descend, it has a bit of an impact on your ability to ascend out the bottom of the squat, and that was definitely finding something as a limiting factor. And over the last couple of weeks I've worked really hard on trying to overcome that, and it's a work in progress, but I've made good progress, and hopefully in the next few weeks I'll feel like I've overcome that now. So it's these really small muscles. I think that the key thing here is actually, yes, squatting is kind of targeting the larger muscle groups, glutes and quads and hamstrings, but if your tiny musculature, those support tissues aren't also healthy, they can hold you back, and that's where they can be issues, and they kind of pass on that kind of dysfunction onto the larger muscles, and eventually you have a catastrophic injury. So it's really important you keep on top of those and identify kind of weaknesses really before they significantly impact on your training. And I think I probably have done that. I cut it off at the pass before a hammy or a quad kind of went kaput. So just in terms of, if those are interested in what I've been doing, using foam rollers and my own kind of dog balls and cricket balls and stuff like that. But yeah, using the massage clinic here at Beckett to get a bit of additional treatment as well. A lot of trigger point work just to get into releasing those tissues and relaxing them as well. A lot of mobility work, trying to get targeting the hip flexor muscles, and particularly at the minute the last little thing that's kind of niggling on me now is my tensor fasciae latae. So that little kind of hip pocket muscle, which is the smallest little bit, but it's proving to be particularly tricky to get hold of, and that it's still having a bit of an impingement. And then doing a lot of kind of eccentric focus, because that's where I was limited. So if you're doing a lot of heavy squatting, that also by implication means that you are loading those hip flexors eccentrically as well. I think basically as my squatting has increased and the volume's increased and the load's increased, I've blown those out a little bit. They weren't prepared for that amount of additional volume and intensity. So a lot more eccentric focus, single leg squats and split squats. And by eccentric focus, just basically really, really slow tempo. So body weight and light kilos, I'm split squatting 40 kilos, so not a lot of weight at all, but really kind of lengthening the amount of time I'm spending the eccentric portion and then coming up pretty quickly, because concentrically it's not a challenge, but just overloading the eccentric component and building some capacity in those tissues as well. So that's going pretty well. Work in progress, still hasn't overcome that, but it's definitely helping. So again, little training advice is look after the niggles, because eventually those niggles kind of come back and become something more significant. And what the implication of looking after those niggles has been is I've seen a progression in squatting performance. So this is the last 3 sets of 120 kilos that I've been doing. So orange line was 3 sets ago, blue line was 2 sets ago, and then the red line was the last set. So this was a Monday. You can see there that red line is quite a bit above that. And I'm actually now above, for 3 repetitions, above the 0.5 meters per second barrier there. So generally speaking, 0.5 meters per second and below is what we say for strength. So, yeah, that basically means that only the last 2 reps of that set were strength focused, and other what could be more velocity and power focused. That's really good news, and that means. And I felt like I could squat better. I felt like I could get in the right better positions. I could move better, and I could apply. I actually didn't feel like I was inhibited in applying force. Now I'd become adapted and adjusted, I think, to being a bit inhibited in my hips. Because it crept up on over time, I hadn't really noticed it creeping in. But when I kind of went to Monday and I'd felt the kind of the effect of the kind of rehab and treatment I've been having, I did feel so much better, and that allowed me to move faster. And having my baby sleeping better also contributed to that. So I'm not going to deny there's an effect in that. So then today I've done my first low velocity test for such a long time. It felt like it had been ages, but for I suppose the last 6 to 7 weeks with the newborn, there's no point. All it would have told me is that I'm not as strong as I once was. So just basically, hopefully, getting over the worst of that now, and so I felt it was a good time to test. And here's my predicted values. I'm going to discount the ones at the beginning because that was just I don't think it was a particularly valuable test. So if we take the kind of the first bullet, the first data point out of that, and we can see here from my last one a significant increase. So I've gone from at the bottom here a predicted of 135 to just over 150, 152. So I'm still not near the 190 to 200 mark that I want to get to, but you can see it's a good jump. It's a 15 kilo jump from where I was. So that is really pleasing to have. And I'll continue on this particular program now until Christmas, and then change for the new year. Hopefully now I can be a lot more consistent in training and really kind of extract all the adaptation I can from this particular program, because it's been going on for an eternity now, it feels like, and then move on to something new. And then we're into the kind of the homeward stretch. So a huge amount of adaptation left. But let's have a crack. I kind of, my mindset is it's still possible. And if I don't get there, I don't get there. But I'm having a right good crack to see if I can get there. And in the process, I'll definitely improve. The limiting factor for me at the minute is definitely diet and nutrition. The kind of the sleep deprivation, the disturbed nights is definitely having an impact on nighttime, what I eat at nighttime. That's really the hard thing. So during the day, I think I mentioned last week, I bring my food with me to work, and that works out quite well, and hit my protein goals, hit my calorie goals, and like, right, if I can get home and get to bed and sleep through the night, I don't have any issues with sticking to calorie goals and macro goals. But the being up at night doing the 1 hour feeds and getting to burp and wind, you're tired, you're hungry, and your capacity, your ability to resist going to get some kind of like dopamine, sugary, fulfilling foods is a lot of resistance, and sometimes I don't have the resistance left in me. So I'm hoping now that, again, she's sleeping a little bit better, going longer between feeds, I'm going to kind of be more able to resist those temptations and fight off those urges and be a bit more consistent in my diet. I have crossed over into the supplementation world to give myself a bit of a kickstart, which may or may not explain the results I've had today. So I'm now taking colostrum. So if those people have heard about it, colostrum is basically a really useful thing to stimulate natural growth hormone and immunity. So hopefully over the winter months I can stay illness free, produce lots of really positive hormones, get some good sleep, and really ripping over December to put some numbers on the bar and have a real good attack at it from January onwards. Hopefully in that process, although December is never a good month to try and lose weight, drop down some kilos as well. So that's me. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.